everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Tuck Your Chin podcast for the final time, unfortunately. Tonight we'll be paying tribute to Tuck Your Chin, talking about our favorite memories and what the podcast meant to us and what it did for us. Today I'm joined by two people. I believe one of them will be joining us later. Anyways, let's bring in Josh.
Hey guys, what's up? It's the hate savior of pro wrestling's true prince, the leader of the most dangerous empire in all of the land. And yes, unfortunately, this is the last time you will ever see the Tuck Your Chin podcast in full force. We're gonna share some of our favorite memories, what the podcast meant to us, and pretty much I really have nothing else to say. Let's just get this started, man.
Next up we have a former member of this podcast, Wyatt.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today for a very sad thing, and that is the Tuck Your Chin podcast has officially passed away, and therefore we had to make a hard decision by shutting it down because we have had some losses. We knew, and since whenever we had some big names leave, the podcast literally went downhill, and everyone was just fading away, disappearing. But Tuck Your Chin there will never be another Tuck Your Chin podcast. Want to give a thank you to this now to Will and Mike for creating to one of the greatest podcasts in pro wrestling. That is the Tuck Your Chin podcast. That is the best experience I've ever had to becoming a podcast person. Therefore, Jason, as we're gathered here, let's pay our respects and beliefs as we are gathered for today for the memory of Tuck Your Chin.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Tuck Your Chin podcast is done. The reason we had to shut this down is because we had some losses. A lot of people leaving, some situations happen, some misunderstandings happen, which we're not going to get into because it involves some people here, but we're not going to get into that.
Details will not be explained.
Will not be explained. If you're curious, just send us a DM.
Yeah.
And we'll explain it. Anyways, let's start out with our favorite memories from Tuck Your Chin. Josh, what's your favorite memory here on the Tuck Your Chin podcast? I know you haven't been on here long enough, but from what you've seen as a fan perspective, what's your favorite memory?
Well, I'm gonna do a little bit of both. I'm gonna do from my perspective and as a person who supports it. As a person who supports the podcast, my favorite moments were pretty much all of the Ronald Van Donald moments.
Shout out to Evan, by the way.
Shout out to Evan. But as like me being on the podcast, I pretty much experienced, as a hobby of having fun and talking about the sport we all love as professional wrestling. So my favorite memories on here is pretty much doing at least 3 episodes of Tuck Your Chin before this kind of happened. So those are some of my favorite memories of the podcast.
Yeah, check out the recent post that we posted that we had to pull the plug on this podcast. Yeah, then Josh, you debuted on the Hell in a Cell recap episode. Yeah, since we had Evan on there, Antoine, and James, who was there for the first half. Anyways, yeah, you've been on a good amount of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been on about 13 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I debuted on episode 10, the early days of Tuck Your Chin, when we were still doing audio episodes.
Yeah, that was my debut as well.
Yeah, Wyatt, you also came in too.
Yeah.
Anyways, Wyatt, what's your favorite memory?
My favorite memory of Tuck Your Chin is definitely when we got to do the WrestleMania 36 predictions. I got to do it with Mike, Steve, you, Jason, Julian. I got to meet him. I got to know him, and someone else who we no longer associate with. Not gonna say his name. But,
No name drops here.
Yeah. But it was also definitely a fun experience for me. I definitely the Survivor Series predictions was a episode, but someone specific ruined the episode because he was acting like Mr. Tough Guy. But But as of that, but basically, I didn't really do too much on Tuck Your Chin. Crash and Burn taught me more of experience of being like having ownership to a podcast. But thankfully, Tuck Your Chin taught me an experience of how to become in a podcast and how much fun it is to be in a podcast. And I do remember the day, definitely remember when I asked Mike, I'm like, Mike, you do a podcast, right? Can I be on your podcast sometime? And Mike's like, yeah, totally, dude. I would love to because I want to have new people on every now and then. I'm like, and then Mike tried for weeks. Mike and I were trying to find a day to do an episode. And therefore, it was weeks I got so busy. And then finally, I was like, yeah. And Mike's like, do we need some more people on? I'm like, yeah. Can I have my friend Jason to be on the episode? And he was like, yeah, DM him and we'll get him on too. So it was me, Jason, Mike, and this guy, Billy Bob. So, and that was my episode. And that taught me the experience of being part of a podcast. I wasn't the best at it at the time, but I got better at it, so forth, so on. But yeah, it was an experience. But one more thing I gotta say is when I did the Hell in a Cell predictions, it just didn't feel the same as it used to be because a lot in my life changed, which we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I had 2 runs on Tuck Your Chin. The first time, we didn't end on such good terms because of a misunderstanding situation. But luckily, we got that sorted out and over with and leave that in the past. Because me and Wyatt had our first run here as members, then we got removed for reasons.
We got released for very, very, very private reasons.
A misunderstanding.
But 2 months later, we were all able to make up. There was a group call that night, and everyone said their part, and we were able to apologize and make up. And I want to shout out Jason's buddy, Max. And Max is the reason why we are all reunited, and he ended everything and got us all back at peace. So Max,
luckily that ended.
The best monitor on our podcast.
Yes, my best friend.
We love
Anyways,
you,
so yeah, luckily that situation got sorted out. Anyways, my first one on Tuck Your Chin.
It was a wreck. The rivalries between Tuck Your Chin, Crash, and Burn are over.
We're not going to get into that anymore.
And we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
That's in the past, anyways.
Anyways.
But in the positive part, my first run on Tuck Your Chin was a stepping stone for me. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't know how to do a podcast that time. But then I got better at it as I started coming on more episodes. Then once we left, which we wish we'd been on better terms, Crash and Burn became a thing.
Right.
And that's how Josh got into the podcast world.
Yes.
And
as of that, if anyone wants to know about Crash and Burn, I'm going off subject. Ever since me and Jason left Tuck Your Chin, Jason wanted to start his own podcast, and I was going through a lot. I was very down, and I was very, very, very in a lost zone. So I really didn't want to do anything at the time. So Jason and Josh wanted to start their own podcast, and then Jason and Josh decided to say all these names, and I'm like, none of these names are going to work. And Jason's like, Wyatt, I'm going to leave you up to the name. If me and Josh agree with it, we'll use that name. So I look around my room. I look at my wrestling DVDs, and there was one DVD that said, Greatest Ladder Moments, Crash and Burn. And I'm like, let's call it Crash and Burn. And Jason and Josh agreed to the name, and Jason's like, I agree with it. Josh agrees with it. We're going to call it that.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's how the name Crash and Burn became a thing.
And our first ever episode was Money in the Bank predictions, which was all the beginning.
Yeah, guys, Crash and Burn was first started on Anchor. Our first 6 episodes were filmed on there. Then we made the shift over to here, Skype. And ever since Skype became our permanent home.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyways, that's how my first run went on Tuck Your Chin, a stepping stone for me.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite memories happen to be debuting on the podcast, the WrestleMania 36 predictions and the review. Those were fun episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course my last appearance in my first run was also a good episode, which I have to be a week in review. But anyways, my favorite memory as a fan when I wasn't on the podcast at that time have to be the Fighter Fest predictions.
Yeah, that was right after we made up, and that was like the few days after we made up.
Yes, that was such a good episode.
Yeah, that was the best
Shout-
episode they ever did. Spider Fest was really good.
Shout out to Evan for making that episode entertaining.
Yeah. And my
Yes.
best, are we asking my favorite moment of the podcast?
As a fan,
As a fan,
go for it.
thankfully, after we were all able to make up, honestly, me and Evan have actually knew each other. Me and Evan were sort of friends. Like, we used to, like, hop on each other's live streams all the time. And then until Evan got introduced to the podcast world, like, Evan, after Evan went live with Leo Rush, Evan went live himself, and then Mike hopped on and went live with him, and then Mike introduced him to Tuck Your Chin and stuff, and Evan and I became closer friends, and I was able to build new friendships. Me and Antoine became buddies. Me and Evan became closer. I got to associate with James and Cassie. I got to associate with who else? Jacob. Who else? Me and Steve even became friends before podcast world. Like, Steve's like a brother to me because Steve and I have had some ups and downs, and Steve's a funny dude. Steve's a fun guy.
Same
but I'm
here.
gonna tell you, Steve's like a big brother to me. Because Steve and I have went through a lot together. Steve has been there for me when I was going through some shit with some girl shit. Steve was there for me all the time, and I'm gonna tell you, Steve, big shout out to you, big guy, because you were one of the reasons why Tuck Your Chin was entertaining.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to thank all those people that I mentioned. I'm very grateful I became closer with them.
Yes, sir. And then originally James was supposed to be here, but he's having Wi-Fi issues. Hopefully he comes in later on the episode.
And I'm very grateful they always have my back.
Yes, all of them are such OGs. Yeah. So anyways, that's our favorite moments for our favorite memories. Josh, why don't you say your part and why you think Tuck Your Chin's best to shut down?
I think it's the best that Tuck Your Chin shuts down. I think it's because I'm not gonna really get into the real reason why. I'm going to put it in as of my perspective. I don't want to get myself in trouble for exposing other people's business. It's not my job to expose other people's business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like it's best that Tuck Your Chin shuts itself down, because I felt like everyone, I guess you could say everyone kind of like divided away. Pretty much it kind of got really out of hand after a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the same as it was.
Some
And
people
that's
were
why
killing the mood.
Yeah, and Crash and Burn pretty much saved everybody.
Yeah. It's like WWE jobbers leaving the company to go to AEW.
It's
Right.
like jobbers go
yeah.
there to save themselves.
It's like we're saving Rusev and Matt Hardy and Neville and others' careers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're saving podcast careers.
Yeah. We saved Evan's career. We saved Antoine's career. We saved James and Cassie. We've saved so many.
Yeah, then we have some people that never done podcasts before. For example, Omar and Riley.
But
And
Nicholas
AJ.
was just a special guest on Tuck Your Chin. He became a member on Crash and Burn. And Nicholas loves Crash and Burn.
Yeah, and shout out to Nicholas.
You can
And
give him
OG
a free
loves
Skype
him.
call, or you can add him on Roblox. Link will be down below.
We're just getting on here for the final time.
Okay. Is it my turn to ask why it's best for Tuck Your Chin to shut down?
We need to give a few shout outs. Shout out to Diamond, even though he's barely on Crash and Burn. But he'll make a few appearances.
Okay.
Shout out to Riley, Omar, Lucas, and everyone else.
Kyle.
Yeah. Kyle. He's been on here occasionally.
Is it my turn to ask why it's best to shut down?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
I'm gonna have a lot to say on this. This is a lot I gotta say on this. Basically, pretty much why everything had to shut down, because I knew, ever since the bullshit that happened with me and Jason leaving, getting kicked off, And ever since a member of their podcast unfollowed all the members for no reason, and a member of theirs got high on a podcast, which we're not going to say their names, some of the people just leaving, and
some people turned toxic.
People turned toxic. People just faded away. People just really didn't care. One of the owners moved on for personal reasons, and another owner, I'm not going to say which owner, but pretty much one of them pretty much gave it up to Evan, and I know, and I feel like I understand, and I know Mike hasn't been on, but I believe Mike's fell out of wrestling.
Yeah, shout out to Mike, by the way. You can catch him on the Moshcast going forward. Yeah. You can catch him going forward on the Moshcast.
And Mike's more into rock bands and such, and I understand Mike was giving up. And Evan's a great dude. Evan's funny. Evan's entertaining. Evan's the best. I love Evan to death. Evan's like family to me. All I'm going to say is, Evan, I understand doing all these podcasts kind of got overwhelming for him.
Then, yeah, he left Crash and Burn and Tuckerton, too.
Because it got overwhelming, but he's always on the Moshcast.
And I believe, shout out to Evan, by the way. I believe soon he might start his own podcast. We can talk about anything.
Like life, girls, dates, cat food,
sex,
dog food, honeymoons, horses, cows, pigs, chickens, urethra, Hulk Hogan, anything.
Evan,
we can even talk about this thing.
He's forever the comedian of all podcasts. Right, guys?
Yeah.
America, sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like, and also ever since can I say his name, Julian?
Yeah, it's okay.
Ever since,
shout out to the Heavy Metal Joker.
Julian, the Heavy Metal Joker departure. I knew Tuck Your Chin was going downhill, but Julian at least has his life saved because we saved Julian for Crash and Burn, and Julian really supports Crash and Burn, and I'm very grateful for Julian, and I'm very grateful Julian is a part of my life.
Yes, how can you hate Julian?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you guys. This is why Tuck Your Chin's best to unfortunately shut down. Yeah, what is the best moments of all time? Let's take a look back. Wyatt, you start.
All right. Get your lotion if you need it. All right. God, I don't know how to count. Who are my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time? Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, AJ Styles, CM Punk. Got it. Who wants to know my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time? Wyatt's top 5. You ready?
Go ahead. I'm ready.
Who is it? Randy Orton, Edge, Jeff Hardy, John Cena, AJ Styles.
There you go. At least you know how to count.
Let's do 6 through 10.
So Evan is one of the reasons why. Guys, let's have a scary story.
Once upon a time, it was a dark and stormy night.
And it burned when I urinated.
And also, what you want to know? Another funny moment from Tuck Your Chin. I remember Evan saying this. I believe he said, William Firearm.
Ah, yes, my favorite professional wrestler, William Firearm.
William.
And you know what, Evan? I remember Evan also saying on Tuck Your Chin, guys, can I make a Rihanna joke?
Oh my god!
I said I was gonna beat my meat like it's Rihanna in 2009.
Well, and Bob Bagwell will make a return.
That's Crash and Burn.
No, but next clip.
That make any sense. But regarding AEW, I think undeniably Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan probably both have massive boners looking at that list. There's probably a metric fuck ton of people that so
Always took the chance.
and the only thing that we recommend is that you jerk off aggressively.
Always.
Yes.
Those were the days.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Wyatt.
Yeah, there's been some funny moments. Let's see. Some of the funniest moments from the podcast. Definitely shouting out Mike Schiff spam. I feel like Antoine was funnier on Crash and Burn though.
Yeah, he was.
Antoine. But yeah. I haven't really. I don't really know, but definitely they had some good memories. Definitely check out the Tuck Your Chin funniest moments. It'll be right on the channel. Who else has got to speak before we move on?
Yeah, this channel's never going away, guys.
No, you can check out all the episodes, even the interview.
All right, go ahead, Josh.
So my favorite, funniest moments on Tuck Your Chin was, of course, Evan saying, "Wait. Oh, the only thing we recommended for you is to jerk off aggressive."
It was after
Every day.
James recommends to tuck your chin.
And then the second one of like my favorites. So I know she's not gonna see this though, but CEO of YouTube, Susan will just fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you might be seeing this
Moving on.
on you.
Let's get negative for a minute. Let's talk about the worst moments,
Oh.
if you guys want.
I know one.
All right, go ahead.
Extreme Rules predictions.
Yes.
That was a
That
disaster.
episode was bad. One, there was too many people. Two members had to get removed. We're not saying their names. They started their own podcast. Not going to say the name.
Let's
We're
not promote it.
No
No.
offense to people, because more drama will start. Another worst moment, me and Jason having to leave. And also one of the members leaving for no reason. And a lot of the members having to leave. And also another worst moment is definitely when the viewership was going down.
For sure.
And definitely, ever since leaving Tuck Your Chin, pretty much my life has changed a lot.
Right.
I've pretty much had the departure from the wrestling community. And I feel like 2020, I've learned a lot of things that I should have learned a long time ago. And I feel like a lot of people in the wrestling community have showed their true colors and true sides. And I just don't think it's a safe place for me. I don't think it's a safe place for my anxiety. I don't think it's a safe place for my health. I don't think it's a safe place for something I have going on in my life. I don't think and I feel like fans are getting toxic. I feel like people get butt hurt too easily. And I also feel like there's always drama that happens so easily. Every time I'm in a group chat, there's always drama. And I feel like a lot of bullshit happens, and I feel like it's best that I've departed from the wrestling community. But thankfully, all I have for wrestling now is the Crash and Burn podcast.
And we have a group chat. We have a group chat here on
Skype. A lot
Skype.
of pain this year. A lot of pain. And I'm going to tell you, it was hard.
I can tell.
I remember being in Florida for 2 weeks. It was terrible. That's why I had to take a 2-month hiatus from Crash and Burn. That's how bad my mental health was. If you think I'm seeking for attention over this shit, your ass is fucking ignorant. If you think I'm just seeking for attention, no. That person's just ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Because
there you go.
If you say this shit, you're getting this off your chest. You keep it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Damn right.
I'm gonna tell you.
Damn right.
I've lost a lot of friends this year. Ever since I've left Tuck Your Chin, my life hell changed. And I feel like most people in this community really didn't give a shit about me. They pretty much just wanted my attention. And I did learn a lot of people. I've learned that a lot of people are not who they truly are. But thankfully, in 2021, I'm going to continue my damn job on Crash and Burn.
Whether people like it or not.
I'm right going to find new people locally, and I'm damn hell getting that job this summer.
Yep, even though you met some new people on Crash and Burn.
And thankfully, they are good people who have my back.
Do you want to shout them out again?
I want to tell you, the real ones, I'm going to shout them out. Special shout out to Joe. He may not be... Go follow him as NCAA Joseph.
That's right.
Antoine, Evan, Riley, Lucas, AJ, Omar, all these amazing people I have in my life. You know how damn lucky I have Riley as one of my best friends? You know how damn lucky I am? Because she actually has my back over goddamn shit.
Yep, and Riley was a guest on here for one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I also want to shout out to people from the Moshcast. You guys can check some of
it's just ridiculous that people now these days lie about each other. And I feel like I have had to get this off my chest for a long time. That's why I had to do it today.
No problem.
And I'm going to tell you, I feel like I learned this year the wrestling community just isn't a good place for me.
Right.
And who can agree here? The wrestling community is just not a good platform.
This is why I pretty much left too.
Yeah. Josh?
I'm
I
kind of like
with people in the community, but I ain't coming back to that community. It's not good for me.
This is why I left some group chats.
People get so butthurt in group chats. It's ridiculous.
This is why I had to leave some group chats, because a lot of people had to be toxic in there. This is why I'm only loyal to the podcast ones.
Yep.
And especially one group chat about a video game show. Josh, you're a part of it.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Demon Savage, by the way, for having that show.
He offered, shout out to Demon Savage. But,
AKA Blake.
Cool dude.
And shout out to Blake's girlfriend, Mia.
Is that his girlfriend for real?
Yeah, 2 lovebirds.
Oh, I thought. Never mind.
You should be part of that show.
I don't want to get too much in the community anymore. That's a problem.
Anyways.
I'm pretty much going to be on my own at this point. And pretty much next year, I'm going to make a change for myself. My life, the podcast, anything. Anyone who's watching this who left my life this year, you don't even know, your damn hell mind is confused because you're listening to the wrong people.
Yep.
All I'm gonna say is if you don't want to see the good in me, fuck you.
I don't blame you for going off like this.
Nope.
Yeah, our real ones. Antoine,
Like
Jacob,
Riley, Josh, and Silthorn.
Jacob, Kyle, James, Lucas, Diamond.
Real ones.
Riley, Omar, James's wife.
Yeah, all
Ashley.
the real ones.
Yes. AJ, William, Joe.
William's no longer Crash and Burn, but William's a great dude. I get to talk to him on Snapchat every day.
There you go.
Shout out to William.
Off topic for a little bit, shout out to the people from the Moshcast. Max. Metalhead Max, Metal Rock Reviews. What a cool dude he is. Of course, Michael Schiff. Our favorite piece of shit. That's all jokes. Ginger. That's all jokes, everybody.
Yeah, it's for a joke. Don't take it serious.
Of course, Evan. How can you not love Evan?
Yeah.
And of course, some people that are wrestling fans on the Moshcast. Anyways, we were talking about the worst moments. Josh, what's your worst moment? If you have one.
I can agree with pretty much everybody that's in this on this episode. Well, probably like the only episode of this you'll ever see. Pretty much, it's the Extreme Rules predictions. I mean, I feel like that was like the worst episode for most people on that for Tucker Chin. I felt like those two members shouldn't have been on if they knew they were going to be toxics. So I thought that was I could agree with most of y'all on that one.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna have to agree as well. That was not a good
And the
episode.
recap was pretty bad.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so what did the podcast do for you guys?
I pretty much said it. I just thought it was a good experience for me. It taught me how to be a part of a podcast, learn stuff, how to do a podcast, have a good act. But thankfully, we always have fun. We joke around. Thankfully, I got to build new friendships. I have great people to reach out to every day. We got other people interested in it, like Riley's a good example. Lucas is a good example. AJ's a good example. But as of that, I don't know what else. All I'm going to tell you is it just taught me an experience. But again, I've done so many podcast episodes, but again, it was just an experience. Josh.
Right.
Josh, you go for it.
This podcast pretty much gave me a learning. I always wanted to start my own podcast after, like, I've always listened to podcasts, and I always was wondering, how do you start a podcast? And I actually had an ex-friend of mine actually had her own wrestling podcast. Unfortunately, we do not associate with each other anymore. But, it kind of made me want to do my own podcast. And then when Jason asked me to help him out with the Crash and Burn podcast, I said, I'm going to go for this opportunity. So I think Tucker Chin was kind of like an experience. It's just helped me start doing podcasts and collaborating with other podcasters for different things.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's cool that you can meet people over doing a podcast and then build friendships with them, get closer, especially having a group chat on Skype. Like for example, we have a home chat where we hang out, watch wrestling together.
Yeah.
And just have a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially having nightly hangouts.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I've never
I think that's really cool.
like that. I've never had friends that were like that. And also some things I've got to add. Something I've got to get off my chest.
Go ahead.
I got to add. I got beat. I remember I never really had that many friends growing up. I never really had that many friends. Because I was different from everyone else. I got bullied a lot in 8th grade because I liked wrestling and no one else did. I got bullied.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
That happened to me. And I just wanted to cry. I wanted to quit school. I wanted to die. But thankfully I didn't. I kept my ass going. I remember I got beat up my freshman year. Twice. But guess what? I'm still here today.
Right.
Good.
And thankfully I have a good connection with people who actually love wrestling.
Right.
Yes. This is why I'd rather be here than be on Zoom calls or Google Meets with classmates.
And I also learned this year. Those people who want to leave my life and don't want to see the good in me, and those people, and the people that stabbed me in the back, those people who gave me so much pain in my life this year, do they really need to be in my life? Were they worth it? No. You're out the door.
No.
My friendships are in the cemetery, and I'm moving on. And I want to make my goal for, as of Tucker Chin passing away, I want my life to get better. And I just want things to get better. And hopefully my social life gets better. And I'm working on my social activity.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And hopefully the podcast gets more better because we're aiming 100 subscribers.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Another thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this year alone, we had a lot of, ups and downs. Look, this year was a lot of ups and downs, especially with the coronavirus pandemic that basically,
For sure.
in the beginning,
That's the
beginning
biggest problem this year.
Yeah, that kept us
Yeah.
all in lockdown for most of the year until we were actually able to leave our homes. But I have to tell you guys this, I'm going to be honest, this is what got me going through quarantine. This is what got me going through quarantine, even though I still went outside during quarantine just with a mask on because I'm a hero and I don't want to catch the fucking plague. But the Crash and Burn podcast got me going through quarantine. I mean, I had some ups and downs in my life, but we're trying to make Crash and Burn a hit, and we're saving careers from Tuck Your Chin. And we're gonna, and you know, as Wyatt said, I've been bullied as well, but I'm not gonna go into like full detail. But guess what? I'm still here, and I'm not gonna. And I'm not gonna let people talk shit about me when it's not true.
Exactly.
If you want to talk shit, go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Also, and I did learn a lot, and I did learn this year that having your heart broke by someone is a life lesson, and it's something that's going to happen more than once in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People I've known have had their heart broken more than once, and I feel like I fell in love with the wrong person. Next year, I hope to fall in love with the right person.
There you go.
And I feel like, even though I'm not going to get to the details, when I had a group call with someone from 9:30 at night to 1 in the morning, I'm not going to say who, but that was a lesson learned. And also, I got to realize who my real friends are.
Yeah.
And who really has my back.
Exactly.
People who have my back take my opinion. They accept who the person I am. They love for who I am. And they're grateful I have them and they have me in their life. Because people like that are not people that were fake to me are attention seekers. They want my attention. They get butt hurt easily, etc.
There you go.
Change in life, man.
There you go.
And
Josh
2020 has been a tough
life
year.
Experience, man. Anyone watching this?
Yeah.
This is a life experience.
Right.
Be sure to pay attention to Wyatt over here.
Yeah.
Because after this episode of Tuck Your Chin, there's no more uploads.
No more. So we're getting this off.
No
our
more
chest now.
uploads.
You can catch us on Crash and Burn, and you can catch me and Josh on the Moshcast.
Again, if you ever want to listen to any podcast, wrestling podcast, go to Moshcast or Crash and Burn.
Well, Moshcast is for music.
Yes.
Well, if you guys want some music content, what Wyatt meant to say, if you guys want music content, go to the Moshcast.
Yes.
And if you want the newest, fastest rising podcast in pro wrestling, Tuck Your Chin has actually gave us that title now.
Yeah, thank you,
Tuck
Your Chin, even though I'm pretty much the host of this.
Mike said we can have the catchphrase now.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on.
I think that's pretty much it. All to say is, like, I've been through bullying as well until I came across you guys here, especially my friends through Minecraft. Like,
of course,
I pretty much came out of my shell because I never really liked doing stuff in front of the camera until podcasting became a thing for me.
As a wrestling podcast, if you ever want to, the only wrestling podcast, since this one's shutting down, the wrestling podcast you can tune into are Crash and Burn, the Pro Wrestling Corner, and the Dirty Heels podcast.
Uno, dos, tres.
If you want to listen to wrestling podcasts, go check those out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I never thought I'd had a group like this.
Never thought I would either.
Yeah, especially having group calls on Skype. That's really incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I never really watched wrestling with a group of people. And I think that makes you enjoy the show even more.
Yeah. Because I get to talk to my best friends because those people have good energy that I have surrounded with. Especially
outside of wrestling for me with Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like, I have a group of friends there too.
Knowing how toxic this community is, this is why I had to quit Twitter. because
Mhm.
it's good that
Twitter
I'm not
is.
it's good that I'm not part of it anymore because I don't want to be just this. That's why no more drama will happen like this, and it's good that I've departed because I don't want to be just as toxic as them.
Never turn toxic.
Because
No.
I'd rather be surrounded by all the people that I want to be surrounded by all the people that I'm going to interact with locally, people that that care about me and that love wrestling, that my podcast family. Because I don't want to be surrounded by people who don't give a shit about me, people who are attention seekers, or people that join live streams that have no life and that live in their mother's basement. Because
We
those are
had
the
to
type
go
of
through a
people
similar
that join
situation.
those are the type of people that join WWE shop girls live streams and shit because they're trying to make friends, and it's understandable. No offense, but it's true. It's really true. Joshy, what do you think?
What about people
The type
like?
of people that join those live streams. Because I remember one day, a certain girl's live, me and Joe were like, you should see those type of people that join those live streams.
I feel like people shouldn't make social media accounts over, to scam people out of money or like trying to get people to watch adult stuff for money. Like social media is supposed to be a place where you share your life and where you share pretty much hobbies and what you do. Social media is not a place for, bullying and harassment because that's just cyberbullying right
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
And
All I'm going to tell you, the hate, negativity, and bullying in the wrestling community, it's not going to stop because people are just going to keep doing it because people have nothing better to do during the day because people have had more time to sit behind a screen and act all tough. But I'm going to tell you, Lana's been cyberbullying. You know what? You need to fuck off and leave her alone because Lana is a beautiful looking woman married to a great man, and she is going to keep doing her damn thing. She may not be a good wrestler, but she is damn hell of a beautiful
Even
woman. And I wish I could
WWE
give. I'm
had
gonna
to
tell you
put her
about
through a
Lana.
table.
I don't care if she married or not. I wish I could give Lana a hug right now.
And the fact that WWE would punish her just because Miro went to AEW is bullshit.
And
right.
I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy. People do need to leave Lana alone. People need. I may not be a big fan of Natalia, but you don't go off hurting her like that.
Yeah, don't.
Right.
And Hana Kimura, she killed herself to this shit.
Yeah, Hana Kimura was a big
That's so
We
sad.
miss you.
Like, oh my god, people these days.
So this is a lesson. You think before you say shit.
Listen to
Right.
Wyatt, everybody. Otherwise, we're better off gathered here together.
I
on
got
Skype.
threatened for not liking for an opinion, and that by a grown woman for not liking Becky. That's how toxic people are these days. It's just a lesson to learn, everybody. Social media may be toxic to this pandemic, but just think about what you're saying.
Or just ignore all that.
Ignore
Like,
the
stay
hate.
away from all it.
That's why I feel like I'm better off without the community, and I feel like
Or come join our little group.
And I got better friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm trying to remember that every morning.
Every single people here on this podcast and on the Moshcast.
When I wake up, I need to say to myself that I'm worthy.
Because you are.
Because I ain't giving up. I'm looking at the bright things.
And you're
Just
looking
stare
for
it
the
up.
future.
I gotta
Just
focus
think of
more on my
us.
future. But
Yeah, just think of us, man.
should I put those people behind because try hard not to think about it. But
Anyways, yeah, I guess that's it. We can end this off. So,
but yeah,
guys, do you have anything else to say before we end it off?
all I'm
Why,
gonna say is thank
I know
you
you
for
have.
all the memories Tuck Your Chin has made. We've had some great members, great people. Great to have Will and Mike start this thing. It's been the ride was great while it lasted, but it was gonna come to an end occasionally. But Will and Mike have moved on to do bigger and better things in their life. And I wish them both the best. I wish all the rest of the members the best. The members that joined Crash and Burn the best, and all the Crash and Burn members the best. But yeah, it was a pleasure to say things and get things off my chest and explain things that are kind of true.
There you go.
And that stuff that we need to learn, that stuff changes in life.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, life changes. Life doesn't stay the same forever. Like, it's just drama happens so easily through the social media platform, and I feel like I realized this till now.
Yeah. All right.
But can't judge others.
Yeah. Anyways, is that it? You'll have to say.
Yeah.
Anyways, Josh, you want to say anything else and get to your outros?
Yeah, I would like to say something before we get to the outros.
Go ahead.
Always remember. I mean, I like to give people advice to make them better people and make them better for their own life. All I want to say to everybody in the wrestling community: stop being a bunch of babies and grow the fuck up.
Grow the fuck up.
If you're a toxic person watching this, grow up.
Fuck off. And if you're a toxic person that stabbed me in the back, fuck off and fuck off.
Leave Wyatt alone.
Leave Wyatt alone.
Yeah.
I'm a damn good person. I may stuff may have misunderstanding, but just
he learned his lesson.
Life,
Stop being butthurt. He learned his lesson. Stop being butthurt.
Right.
Exactly.
And then for people in life, always remember, always know your true friends. Always know you trust the people that are always good to you and respect you, and always make sure that you're the same as just as much as them. And remember, always look for your true friends, not the fake insiders. Because I mean I've lost friendships in my own personal life, but luckily I reconnected with certain people.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I've made some friends through the wrestling community that I am close with, even though we may live in other cities or states. We still are friends, and that's what FaceTime and pretty much video chats are for.
Yeah.
That's why we have a home chat here on Skype.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep, and luckily that's that. But
and that's that.
Yeah, but always keep tucking your chin. And
yeah, always tuck your chin forever.
When those people turn on you or they act fake to you, you block them and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go. Because it's time to, because after everything I've been through, it's about damn time I let it go. It's never too late for a new beginning.
That's right. A new chapter in your life.
Yeah.
This is why I'm blessed to have a wrestling family right here and a couple of friends through Minecraft, especially since I get to work for a Minecraft server.
Be ready to see what. But again, thank you for Tuck Your Chin. You have entered the gates of heaven, and you guys are Tuck Your Chin is in a better place now. But Tuck Your Chin will always be the Tuck Your Chin podcast. Thank you very much.
That's right. Anyways, thank you for the final time for watching this Tuck Your Chin podcast. Thank you for all the memories. If you still want to support the podcast, subscribe, like, comment. Otherwise, catch us on Crash and Burn in the Moshcast. And follow everybody. Yeah. Josh, want to say the Tuck Your Chin outro?
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Thank you guys for watching the last and final episode of the former Fastest Rising podcast in professional wrestling, the Tuck Your Chin podcast. Thank you to Will and Mike for starting this thing. It may have been great in the beginning, but after a while, I don't really want to say it kind of like, died down, but I feel like people have moved on to bigger and better things. And if you're wondering where you can catch the new Fastest Rising podcast in pro wrestling, you guys can catch the newest and fastest rising podcast. It is the Crash and Burn Wrestling podcast. Tuck Your Chin has officially passed the torch
Yeah.
over the
It passed the
Crash and
torch
Burn.
to the Crash and Burn podcast. But again, if you still like to listen to wrestling podcasts, this is the end of my outro. If you want to listen to wrestling podcasts, check out Crash and Burn Wrestling Podcast, the Dirty Heels podcast, and one of my best friends, Morvin's podcast, the Pro Wrestling Corner. Morvin, I'm very grateful for you. I'm going to say this right now, but Morvin, thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you for everything you've done for everyone. You're the best. I love you, sis, and I'm hopefully keep the friendship going for me and you.
All right. And I want to.
And before I end this, I would like to finish my outro, but Tuck Your Chin, even though the assassin really didn't make many appearances, it was still great to be introduced to so many great people and do episodes with them. I got introduced to a bunch of these great people through this podcast. And
you want to shout them out?
For sure. I want to shout out Mike, Steve, Julian, James, Cassie, Antoine, Jacob, everybody from the Tuck Your Chin podcast that was pretty much on there.
Evan, of course.
And Evan, of course. Thank you guys for being real ones. Thank you guys for being such amazing people. And
thank you for being like a family to me.
Thank you guys. Y'all are such OGs.
Yeah. Always remember. Always remember to tuck your chin.
Always do it forever, guys.
Always.
Never stop tucking your chin, everyone.
Never stop tucking your chin. We
but
love
you
Thank
can
you for
keep
everything.
crashing and
God bless
burning.
you.
We can
And
keep
also,
crashing and burning.
For music, the Moshcast will forever be the loudest podcast in all of music. The Moshcast will forever live on, guys.
Okay.
The Moshcast is still going.
Still going. We got a bunch of great people on there.
And yeah, you guys can catch the newest, fastest rising podcast of in the entire pro wrestling world. The Tuck Your Chin, not the Tuck Your Chin. No, that is officially dead. But I meant to say Crash and Burn. That is where you can catch everybody from Tuck Your Chin now. Well, most of them, but Tuck Your Chin, thank you. It's been a hell of a ride. You have entered the gates of heaven, but this channel will not be deleted in any way, shape, or form. You guys
still want to relive the memories?
And relive the legacy of the Tuck Your Chin podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. It's time to end this for the final time. Tuck your chin.
Your chin.
Thank you again for all the memories.
Tuck your